Good morning, everyone. In the last e-learning sessions, we have been discussed about principles of teeth arrangement, teeth selection, everything we have discussed in detail. Today, in this class, we are going to discuss the basics involved in the very important topic, occlusion. This is Dr. Sharan, Senior Lecturer, Department of Prosthodontics. In this part, what is occlusion, why it is important, and we discuss in detail about compensating curves. Right? So, just a brief about what are the steps involved in the fabrication of the complete denture. First, initially what you do? First, after taking a brief case history about your complete edentulous patient, then we start making complete edentulous primary impression. Then after that, we go with your laboratory steps, making pouring of the model, that is primary cast. Then you do the clinical procedures such as border molding, making secondary impression. Then again coming to the laboratory steps, you do the secondary cast pouring. Then the important steps, clinical procedures, jaw relations are involved. We start with your orientation, we start with your vertical, centric, eccentric relations. Then you mount the recorded jaw relation, transfer to the articulator. Then you complete it, articulation. Then do the teeth setting arrangement. You arrange the teeth according to the principles what you have learnt. But the important step is you have to keep the teeth in the occlusion. So, now what is occlusion? Occlusion is nothing but it is the static relationship between incising or masticating surfaces of the maxillary or mandibular teeth or tooth analogues. I repeat, it is the static relationship between the incising or masticating surfaces of maxillary or mandibular teeth or tooth analogues. Whereas articulation is this dynamic contact relationship between the occlusal surfaces of the teeth during function. So one is static relationship and other one is dynamic relationship. Remember, occlusion is always a static relationship. It is nothing but the contact between two surfaces. One surface is maxillary and other surface is mandibular. Okay. Whereas articulation is during these surfaces contact, how they contact during the function. So that is called as articulation. So before going to talk about centric occlusion, just relate your TMJ anatomy with your occlusion. So such point comes under centric relation. This centric relation is nothing but, in most simple terms, according to Boucher, it is the most posterior relationship of the mandible to the maxilla at the established vertical dimension. Coming to GPT 8 definition, it is rarely asked for you, that's why I kept this slide. In sometimes your preclinical exams, they will be asking about define centric relation. So centric relation is nothing but it is a maxillomandibular relationship in which condyles articulate with the thinnest avascular portions of their respective discs with the complex anterior-superior position against the slopes of articular eminences. The position is independent of tooth contact. This position is clinically discernible when the mandible is directed superiorly and anteriorly and is restricted to purely rotatory movement. We have to remember here, this is a maxillomandibular relationship in which condyles articulates with the thinnest avascular portions of the respective discs with the complex anterior superior position against the slopes of articular eminence. Or in simple terms, what I said, it is the most posterior relationship of the mandible to the maxilla at the established vertical dimensions. It is according to Boucher, but the standard definition is your GPT-8 definition, right? Now, coming to centric occlusion. Here you have to remember, centric relation is always a bone-to-bone relationship. It is independent of tooth contact. Whether tooth is present or not, patient gives your centric relation. Occlusion comes only when the two surfaces touch, that is your maxillary teeth and mandibular teeth touch, then only your occlusion concept occurs. So, the occlusion of opposing teeth when the mandible is in centric relation, right? This position may or may not coincide with the maximum intercuspal position. What is intercuspal position? The complete intercuspation of opposing teeth independent of condylar position, sometimes referred to as best fit of teeth regardless of the condylar position. This maximum intercuspation or centric occlusion all will come only when you arrange your teeth according to your principles, whereas your centric relation will come when you keep the mandible in the most retruded posterior position, rest position, and it is always a bone to bone relationship. So, we discuss now in detail about compensating curves. In the next class, we discuss about different concepts, that is, what is balanced occlusion, very minimal, because concepts of occlusion that all is a very elaborative procedure and it is very difficult to understand very at this primitive stage of your preclinicals. But this compensating curves plays an important role when you are arranging the tooth. That's why I am discussing in detail about compensating curves, and in next session we will discuss about basics about just concepts of occlusion. What is balanced occlusion, what is monoplane occlusion, what is neutrocentric occlusion. Just we have to know what is that occlusion means. In complete dentures, what type of occlusion we establish. In natural dentition, what type of occlusion will be present. So all this we will discuss in the next class. Now coming to the compensating curves, the three-dimensional arrangements of dental cusps and incisal edges in the natural human dentition are classically described as spherical, with the occlusal surfaces of all the teeth touching a segment of the surface of the sphere. So this touching the sphere of the curve, we call it as a curve of Monson. This is the curve which actually will present in the natural human dentition, whereas it is spherical, where the occlusal surfaces of all the teeth will touch the segment of the surface of the sphere with glabella as a center. So such curve is called as curve of Monson. It is divided into an anterior-posterior curve called as curve of Spee and lateral curves, that is mediolateral curve called as the curve of Wilson. Re-establishment of these curves of natural dentition is essential in rehabilitation of the patient in prosthodontics. That is nothing but your complete denture. Natural dentation, when all the occlusal surfaces of the teeth touches and make a sphere with glabella as your center, then a curve is formed, that is curve of Monson. This curve of Monson again will be divided into anterior posterior curve and mediolateral curve. Anterior posterior curve is nothing but your curve of Spee, whereas lateral curve is nothing but your curve of Wilson. These two curves we particularly establish in the prosthodontic rehabilitation of the edentulous patient, that is your complete denture fabrication, right? So the replacement of natural occlusal curves with artificial teeth are collectively known as your compensating curves. If they ask you about definition, what are the definition? The anterior posterior curving in the median plane, whereas mediolateral curving in the frontal plane with the alignment of occluding surfaces and incisal edges of artificial teeth that is used to develop a balanced occlusion is called as compensating curve. This why we have to establish these compensating curves in the artificial dentition. The importance of establishing compensating curves is nothing but to eliminate Christensen's phenomena to achieve balance. What is Christensen's phenomena? This Christensen's phenomena we discuss in the lateral sections how Christensen's phenomena is present, how we can how we have to eliminate Christensen's phenomena to achieve the balanced occlusion. A steep condylar path requires a steep compensative curve for occlusal balance. Sorry, it's a simple thing. If the condylar path is very steep, that means it requires a steep compensatory curve. A lesser compensating curve for the same condylar guidance, which would result in a steeper incisal guidance, which would cause loss of molar balancing contacts. If it is reverse, then we don't get the balanced occlusion properly. Then coming to the curve of Spee. So don't write all the definitions. If they say some will write curve of Spee means all the posterior cusp touching, a curve which forms all the posterior cusp touching. So all those things you don't write. You write clearly it is anatomic curve established by the occlusal curve of Spee. It is the anatomic curve established by the occlusal alignment of the teeth as projected onto the median plane. That is, this curve of Spee will be established in a median plane, beginning with the cusp tip of the mandibular canine and following the buccal cusp tips of the premolars and molars and continuing with the anterior border of the mandibular ramus and ending with the anterior most portion of the mandibular condyle. So you have to remember all these things. It is the curve which will be established in the median plane. It is what type of curve? It is anterior posterior curve. It will be established in the median plane and it will be starting from the tip of the mandibular canine to the buccal and touching the buccal cusp tips of the premolars and molars and continuing to the anterior most portion of the mandibular condyle. So all these points should be present when you are writing your curve of Spee. Just don't write it is a curve starting from the canine tip to the all the posterior surfaces of the mandible. Right? So all these things you have to, and the diagram is very, very important. And curve of Spee is given by Von Spee in 1890. It allows for the normal function and protrusive movement of the mandible. You can see the picture how it is touching the canine tip and how it is going to the touch the buccal cusp tips of the premolars and molars and going to the anterior-most portion of the condyle. This is the curve which is made as an anterior posterior curve of all the occlusal surfaces. Why we have to establish this? As I already said, all the compositing curves are established mainly to eliminate the Christensen's phenomenon. This curve of Spee is mainly established to resist the functional load, normal functional protrusive movement of the mandible. Right? Then, as I said, Christensen's phenomenon will be discussed in the lateral slides. Now coming to the Christensen's phenomenon, it is the term coined by the scientist called as Carl Christen, which he observed the opening of posterior teeth in the mandibular protrusion. I already discussed in the previous classes what is protrusive movement, what is lateral movement. When you bring your mandible forward such that the incisal surfaces of the lower will be touching the incisal surfaces of the upper, then there will be a posterior space left in the posterior portion. This movement we call it as a protrusive movement, and the posterior space established during that protrusive movement we call it as a Christensen's phenomenon. Right? Then coming to the mid-lateral curves, that is mediolateral curves, it is nothing but the curve of Wilson. This curve of Wilson is usually arranged for the arrangement of molars. The lower teeth are inclined lingually, giving prominence to the buccal cusps and bringing them into heavy occlusal contact with upper buccal cusp during lateral movements on the working side. Or nothing but it is a mediolateral curve that contacts the buccal and lingual cusp tips on the side of each arch. Right? This is curve of Wilson. Main reason is it helps in the masticatory function and resistant to functional load. Then already I have discussed about curve of monsoon. It is the curve which is present mainly in the natural dentition. It is the curve of occlusion in which each cusp and incisional edges touches the segment of surface of a sphere with 8 inches in diameter with its center as a glabella. Lower tooth move over the surface of the upper teeth over a surface of sphere with a diameter of 8 inches with its center at glabella. This is, I already said, this curve of monsoon subdivisions only curve of Spee and curve of Wilson. If we combine that curve of Spee and curve of Wilson, you will get the curve of monsoon. Right? These are all the pictures. Then, in some situations, they may ask about the pleasure curve. First, for you, it is must curve of Spee and curve of Wilson. And the remaining curve of monsoon and curve of pleasure curve, sometimes they may ask you. So, I am giving you about pleasure curve also. This pleasure curve is nothing but the reverse curve by cuspid area for liver balance. That is, a flat occlusion will be set in the first molar area and a spherical scheme will be established in a second molar area. So that this can be visually we can see. For example, when you arrange your posteriors in your with your glass plate relation, we can clearly see your first molar will be touching the glass plate relation cusp tip, whereas your second molar will be just a tilted, just like in a plane, in an inclined plane. That second molar you can see the just for a illusion, you can see that second molar is usually lies in a like an inclined plane. So that's why when you keep your glass plate relation, your first molar will be always in a flat occlusion, whereas your second molar will be in a spherical occlusion. This is nothing but your pleasure curve, right? Then what is, we already discussed in teeth arrangement principles, what is class 1 canine relationship? What is class 1 canine relationship? The distal slope of the lower canine coincides with the mesial slope of the upper canine. This is your class 1 canine relationship. See, distal surface or distal slope of the lower canine is in line with the tip of the upper canine, whereas your molar mesobuccal cusp of the first permanent maxillary molar coincides with the mesobuccal groove of the first permanent mandibular molar. This is your class 1 canine relationship. This is class 1 canine and class 1 molar relationship, which we have been discussed in the previous sessions. In the next sessions, we will be discussing about class 2 and class 3 canine relationship and molar relationship and different concepts.